Hello, Paul Case here. It's Wednesday afternoon after 4 o'clock. I've been excessively busy. Scott and I went to evangelism conference on Monday. And Tuesday we played, I guess you'd call it, we played catch up. I had 2 loads of firewood, deliver a load of logs to run all the way to Grove to pick up and get all my chores done. And then we in the middle of all that, we were hooking and unhooking, and we had a guy show up and pick up his lumber. I loaded that. Then we cut off about 17 logs to tie length, and Dakota and I chopped that all up to the right length and unloaded. Another load of logs that came in altogether, scaled 2,500 foot of logs, and got them all bought and paid for, and we picked up some parts for this skid loader. Just about to the point of usage on this skid loader, and I've been using it some around here while we're testing it out. But we had a serious leak on the injection pump, and it would drip. It just drip down the side of the motor. These have a belly pan on them, so that just filled the belly pan up with diesel and anything else that would get in there, and that's kind of a fire hazard, and you can't really get around underneath it to put it out unless you've just got a whole bunch of water. So, but we changed some little copper washers, but I don't believe the copper washers are what did it. We changed one O-ring, altogether $6 worth of stuff, and it seems to have fixed our leak. And also I learned that I didn't change the little block. It's not a block heater, and it's not glow plugs on these. It's a intake manifold heater. It heats the air going into the intake. And this one actually burns a little bit of diesel to do that. It's got a line that goes from the injection pump up to that little heater, and it electrifies that heater, and it puts enough diesel on it that you could see it smoking when you're cranking it over. It have smoke that had come up out of that intake. But anyway, it starts better. I got that changed, and it's running good. We have one more thing to do with it before I'm ready to take it to the woods. That, and then this tire was flat this morning when I went to working on it. But I've got all the stuff. My dad had this stuff we're going to put a seat cover over that seat. You can see it's all cracked up. And when you use them and have to leave them outside, that will get wet, and then it wets your rear end for you every time you sit in it. And also got another little project going on in here that we're going to work on. I'm going to build me a couple of wooden panels that come off from the wall, 10.5 or 11 foot. And one of them's going to be right where that door is. It's going to come right off from that truss, and the other one's going to be down here about 20 feet. And then it's going to make me a pin on the inside of the barn. We're going to do that on both sides. One of them, I'll probably have to move the old identity crisis here to get it because it's in the way of that door. But we got that, and then we're going to, the piece that's on the outside, I've got 2 20-foot portable panels we're going to use on them, and one will be hinged on one end and the other one on the other end. Not really hinged, they're just going to be tied that way so you can open them up and put them across. That way I can get my cattle from the lots that I've got on the north side of this barn into the corral. And so I've got, you can see there's water in that, and it's this end of this building has never drained the water away from it real fast, and we're real wet. And so I'm going to come in here and scoop most of that's really, really wet out and haul it out before we do that, putting panels up in here. And I've got some creek rock I'm going to haul in and put in that. But right now what I got to go do is get some firewood loaded. Some folks that go to my church have needed some firewood, so I'm going to take them a little jag. I've done this before a few times. When I get around here, I've got a couple of logging jobs close to home here. I guess I need to get me and Dee to logging. I'm not getting enough tie logs in here to keep up. Probably if we don't bug him, and by the end of the day tomorrow, Scott's going to have sawed up every tie log we got here on the place, and we'll be I don't know, about 110 logs short of having enough to make the next tractor trailer load. Yeah, that little pile right there, and they're all 10-footers, is all we got left to make ties. This pile over here is all pallet lumber stuff. So I need to go do some scouting. I've got a couple leads on stuff that's here close. I could help Dakota get started on some of that. I know he would be excited about that because it would be a little more money for him every week over cutting firewood logs. This little tub I've got is just really, really handy, but it's kind of difficult sometimes to get hooked onto when you're by yourself, don't have somebody to direct you. Well, I got one side. I got the hard side. We'll see how the easy side goes. Just like that. Can't see any of it in that mirror, can you? Now the tub's coming up on the truck. That's about good enough. I'll pull up just a little bit. And gotta put the tailgate in her. I made this little tailgate, and it's the cat's meow for this deal. It really makes it handy. And I don't have to leave it in there all the time. It just sticks in them holes. It's a two-handed job, by the way. It just sticks in them notches like that, and then I put a strap around it. I would let you go with me to do that, but it's a two-handed job too. So you're gonna have to sit right there. Get to it. That's how that works. Now I got to get in here. When we go to cutting logs off that are tie logs, and we have to make them into the end pieces off them into firewood, you wind up with a whole bunch of short pieces. You either cut that piece off the end in one that's just a disc and leave it unsplit, or make them short. And well, this time I just made them short, but we got to get this bottomless bucket on so that we can get to doing this. I'm going to park you. I'm going to try to park you on my trailer. I don't know how good you'll be able to see way down here, but this is what we're going to try. Let's see just how this works. All right. Let's see how long it takes me to load firewood. that's about how long it took me to load a load of firewood. What, 7 minutes maybe. And yeah, there's some of those pieces I found in there quite a bit too big. This couple of them taking it too. I don't really know. They got a wood stove. Haven't ever said it wouldn't handle about anything. Here's our hay supply, how that's a-going. I fed a bunch of them square bales to my cows. There's still probably 150, almost 200 of them sitting there. And that's all second cutting stuff. The first cutting stuff, I used it out, fed them cows when I was trying to get them to eat this grass off the hayfield. Looks like there might be 4 or 6 bales down there left. This is January 20, I don't know, 28 maybe. And in these buildings, they're 40 foot wide, but I never have put more than 5 rows of hay in it because I usually get my hay out of here and feed it with my pickup. Got the bale bed arms on it. When they're in rows like this, I can grab them. And it probably looks like that just goes on for a long ways. It does. From this deal right here where there used to be a center curtain, that away is 300 feet. From here to that other center curtain you can see down there is 200 feet, and all the way to the wall is 3. And with 5 rows of 5 foot bales, I can get 100 bales every 100 foot. So there's 300 bales in here at least. And you see there's some sitting on top of each other over here. I had a bunch of all the small ones that we made, like finishing a field or whatever. Put them in here thinking, well, they're along the wall. It'll be the first thing I feed out. Really hadn't anticipated filling the whole barn up, but I did anyway. And so now I haven't got to them, but that's all right. And Dakota's still got some stored in here. Finally, him and I throwed him off the trailer so I could get my trailer in. When it gets icy, it's kind of bad to have to go hook onto your trailer and try to get some lumber bundles to stay sitting on your trailer strapped down when they're sitting on ice. So I like to keep it inside when I can. That floor will last longer that way. It's all better, I think, when you keep them inside. And no, I don't want anybody thinking that I'm gypping nobody. I did not fill that completely full because it's a long ways over there where I'm taking this. But there's quite a little jag of wood in there. This is, I'll go like, I don't know, 3 miles from Fairland, which is way farther than what I'd ever anticipate to deliver wood. But it's for my church people. I'll do it. So that's what's been going on around here. I've been thinking about doing another tractor video. If you like those tractor videos, you ought to check out a guy named Jeff Raymond on YouTube. That's the name of his channel, is Jeff Raymond. I believe it's Reymond, and it's not pronounced that way. It's pronounced Ramo, I believe. He's up in Illinois. He done a real good job of doing 2 tractor tours of the tractors him and his dad use there on the farm. And I got one back the other day, right there. That's my 706. It's a gas rig. That's the second tractor I ever bought. I was 15 when my dad and I went together and bought that. I didn't actually have anything to do with the money of it. We give $3,000 for it, and it didn't look like that. The paint was all faded, and it did have had doors that came with it, and it had the side windows in it too. And we have used the devil out of that thing. It's rough. It's not anything like new, but it still runs. Scott has had it, and he was using it to bush hog with. I sold it when I bought the 1086. I had a friend I thought was interested in the thing, and I let him use it for a whole season. And he pulled his round baler with it. That's what I had done with it. Pulled round baler. When we first got it, it actually was our mower tractor. We didn't even have one. We'd been borrowing my cousin's 756 to mow with. And So we were happy when I got that one that we had a mow tractor. This old tractor has dual remotes, and now it's just kind of rough. I put new tires on it when I had it, and it's got the 2-point hitch on it. And right now, because he was pulling that heavy bush hog and didn't want to change the settings on it, it's hooked to where it's stationary. And it's got a leak on that PTO shaft. This thing's had leaks all over it. I've been into this one pretty deep. We have put a shaft in this one, so well, not only do we have it split in two right here, changing the clutch and stuff, we changed the TA on it, and you have to take it apart right back here. And so we had to set the cab off, and all of this thing was all in pieces, spread out all over my yard up at the old house when I did that. And it ain't straight, it ain't even close to perfect. Got a roll weld on that front end, but it was like that when I got it. One of the spindles there had to be welded so it'd stay in place. It's just kind of a rough old tractor, but we never claimed to have something real nice or new. We have users. We have ones you use, and so I got plans on this one. I've got a 3.9 disc mower I'd like to put on it and get that disc mower all loosened up, working with it. But that's what my 706 looks like. I sold it out of the family and to a cousin of mine. Kind of sold it in the family, I guess. While they had it, they moved from up here just a few miles north of us to way up by Jasper. And I was up their place. I can't remember how that all transpired. Was by there or seen them for the holidays or something anyway, and I talked to him, and I asked him how everything was going, and he told me that he hardly, I remember we were there for a holiday or something. We had a get together, went to their house, and they was cooking hamburgers, and this tractor was sitting out in the fence row with all these equipment, and he has him a newer John Deere cab, air conditioner, and when he got this thing, he painted it all up. He's an auto body repairman and quite a painter, and he painted it all up. Looked really sharp when he was using it. And I asked him how he liked his John Deere. He said he liked it real well. It's not as tough as this tractor, was the first thing he said, but that he had gotten spoiled to that cab with air conditioning because he has breathing problems and such. I'm sure that's brought on by all the years of working with a paint gun in his hand. And I said, well, hey, if you ever decide you don't want that old tractor anymore, well, just let me know. I'd like to buy it back from you. And he said, okay, I'll do that. And I bet it wasn't 2 weeks later, he called me and he said, you ought to come get that tractor if you want it. And it'd been so long since it run, the carburetor was all plugged up and stuff, but we got it to run long enough to drive up on the trailer. I got it home, and Scott's used it a whole bunch more than I have, but I got some plans to find something I can put it on to use it. So I guess I ought to do another tractor tour, maybe do a little better explanation of the tractors I've got. But there's the old 706. So yeah, that's what's been going on around here. We've got things coming up that we're going to be doing. I'm going to be trying to get around to where we can be ready to plant some oats. And I've got a tractor, and maybe we'll get a little footage of that tomorrow. Dakota and I, if we don't get it completely and totally sidetracked with something else in the morning, we've got one in the shop. Belongs to my neighbor that we're going to get it tore apart so I can get the parts ordered. He said the clutch is out of it, so we got to split it in the middle. And it ought to be interesting. I've never done one just exactly like that, but it's a Ford 3000. So anyway, thanks for watching my videos, and we will catch you on the next one.